Hello, everyone. My name is Russell Wiggins. I'm a graduating senior chemical engineering major. And today I'll be talking to you all about quantum, what quantum is, its mission slash purpose, and hopefully the future that it could potentially have. So at its very core, quantum is a proposed company that is seeking to manufacture automotive vehicles. Our purpose is to give confidence and certainty in the highly uncertain arena of driving, as well as to provide an unmatched driving experience in terms of safety and luxury. At its very essence, quantum can be summarized as being luxury that is responsible. And what that means is that we're looking to manufacture luxury vehicles where safety is the top priority. So that's essentially what can summarize quantum is luxury that is responsible. Oops. So what makes a problem worth solving? Essentially, what makes a problem worth solving is it can be broken down into three factors. And that is, how much of a detriment is this situation slash circumstance to given areas of a person's well-being, whether it be physical, whether it be emotional slash mental, even spiritual. Another factor is how pervasive is it? And that means how widespread is the problem? Is it just does it just affect a certain group of people, or is it more broad than that? And the third thing, and essentially what makes a problem is, the solution to it, that is the thing that would resolve the unfavorable conditions, is not readily obvious. So the solution is not readily obvious. An example of what would be a problem worth solving would be COVID-19. If you take into account its detriment on areas of a person's well-being, you take the fact that it is the most pervasive thing that is happening right now. And you also account for the fact that solutions to COVID-19, outside of the vaccine, which is a relatively recent event, solutions to COVID-19, they weren't readily obvious at the time when COVID-19 hit. So that accounts, and that's the perfect example of what a problem worth solving would look like. So with that being said, I would like to call your attention to the statistic here in red, which reads, road traffic crashes are one of top 10 global causes of mortality, resulting in approximately 3,400 deaths per day. And that turns out to be about 1.2 million per year. And just below that, what we have is the number one cause of highway crashes in 2018 was speeding. And just below that, what we have is driver error is the cause of over 90% of highway crashes. And speeding can be considered driver error. So if we look at that in terms of being a problem worth solving. So what you have when you're driving, then you have a risk of death, which is certainly a detriment to your family, as well as you possibly thinking about that. You have risk of serious injury that could drastically change your life for drastically change your life forever, and just by driving. And what you have is anxiety stemming from just these known facts, that these are possible realities that could come about from driving. And it doesn't necessarily have to be irresponsible driving. It could be, one of the main things that I talk about is, if you see here that in the last bullet point, inherent uncertainty of driving, and erratic behavior of other motorists. So it doesn't necessarily even have to be you driving irresponsibly. It could be, other motorists. So with that defined in that way, the inherent uncertainty and dangers around driving, I think, makes it a problem worth solving. Right. So our solution to this problem, our solution comes in the form of the manufacture of automotive vehicles that are equipped with key safety technological features and systems designed to diminish/eliminate the uncertainty inherent in operating motor vehicles. That is, vehicles that do not rely on chance and responsible driving of other motorists for ensured safety, but accounts for those unknowns through the design of our vehicles. And what that would look like, again, is to equip with safety technological systems. An example would be the incorporation of a NASA technology, which we'll talk about in a little bit, designed with technological safety features such as polarized windshields. And essentially polarized windshields, that would just be one feature to give you an idea. And essentially polarized windshields are just like polarized glasses. They minimize the glare, from light interacting with a surface. So for example, if you're riding at night and, you have traffic that's coming, you're traveling one way and traffic coming the other way, headlights to minimize the glare so that vision isn't impaired. And also another feature would be, we would design the cars for indestructibility. And that's through the material/design. And it would be made to withstand crashes and other possible harmful situations. Okay. And so what we have here is the incorporation of the NASA technology, and the idea that kind of guides quantum is making the world a better place by changing how we travel. Again, that is luxury vehicles that are designed with state-of-the-art technological systems and features. And so with the NASA incorporation technologies into our vehicles, what we basically decided on, one of the technologies is outlined here, which is motion detection, novelty filtering, and target tracking using an interferometric technique with GAAS conjugate mirrors. And basically what that system does, it is a technology that seems to have a few safety applications, one of which could be used to detect wildlife within a certain distance and of a certain size, and to relay that to the driver that there may be large wildlife in the proximity that can't be seen, so to take precaution and slow down. So essentially what that does is it takes into account the environment, right? The unknown of the environment and possibly interactions with large wildlife such as deer on the roadway. Because a lot of times things, it seems like it comes out of nowhere, but if we could have a system that could detect, like, again, a deer, before it runs onto the road, have a system that detects it maybe at a certain distance and relays that to the driver that, hey, there's potential wildlife out there, be on alert, and slow down. The second system that could possibly be incorporated is the programmable velocity limiting safety system. And essentially what that does is it just allows you to program a limit for your velocity that you're traveling. So for example, if you're on the highway and it's almost like cruise control. The only difference is that if you reach the velocity that you program it to, then it'll shut the engine off. So that's another safety technological feature that could possibly be incorporated. Um, so our target market. Um, so what we have with the automotive market is it was valued at in the billions in 2018, and that's that's pretty standard. And in 2018, 78.7 million cars were sold worldwide. Um, so what we have here is in the US, there are 234 million licensed drivers in the US. California has the most licensed drivers. Um, Ages 50 to 69 represent the highest demographic of licensed drivers. Buyers of new BMWs, which we'll see a little bit later on. Again, we're looking to manufacture luxury vehicles, again, with emphasis on safety. So we compared different luxury vehicles. That'll be a little bit later on, but that's why I kind of looked at buyers of BMWs, buyers of new BMWs. So what this bullet here, the fourth one down, it looks at the age range in which the most buyers of new BMWs fell within. So the age range that had the highest number of buyers of new BMWs was from 25 to 54. And so that would definitely be a target. That would definitely be a target market there. And what we have here in this last bullet is 52% of Americans fall into the middle class range. And the middle class range is defined by the income of $40,500 a year to $122,000. So 52% of Americans fall within that income range. So a target market would be to look at the number of the 25 to 54 group that fall within that middle class income range, and to kind of try to kind of narrow that. That would require some more market research, which would be an ongoing process. Okay. And so what we have here is a look at the competition. Okay. And so some of the competition that was outlined, which we can see here in the table, was Audi, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz. And I was going to include Tesla. However, what's interesting is they didn't rank for one of the metrics that's used in this this is JD's power report. One of this metrics that's used is PP100, and you can see that here. And what that is basically the problems per 100 vehicles. And Tesla had a number that was, far larger than the industry average, which was interesting. So what this does is it gives an overall rating out of 100. So you take these four categories here, which are dealership experience, resale, driving experience, and quality and reliability, and those all go into the overall rating of the vehicle. So we can see that Audi has the top overall rating of these models here compared, followed by the Mercedes-Benz, followed by BMW, followed by the Mercedes-Benz. So based on that, I think it is possible for Quantum to differentiate itself from other brands, especially the higher end brands, which are essentially what's being compared here with Audi, BMW, and the Benz. Those typically have lower overall ratings than the more mass-produced, say, for example, a Chevrolet or Ford. And the main reason for this is that the higher end brands tend to typically have technologies that are in some ways not really user friendly. So when asking customers about, which features you didn't like, or how's the driver experience? Oftentimes they'll cite that, certain technologies are, not user friendly, and they can't really find information on how to use those. So I think we take this criteria into account, and to distinguish ourselves, we make sure that quality and reliability is present in every step of our design slash manufacturing process. We focus on driver experience, and we focus on dealership experience. And again, we make safety our top priority, and we push the envelope in safety. That means we try to stay on the cutting edge of safety and technology while maintaining our luxury appeal. Okay, so needed funding, what we have here is roughly the seed money would be about 100 million, which is a really, really big investment. 10 million would be needed for equipment leasing, because the cost associated with trying to get all the specialized equipment as well as the plant is, those are major costs. So a potential strategy would be to lease for the needed equipment, and the rest of the costs, how this money would be spent, this 100 million, would essentially be broken down according to this graph here. So we have raw materials, so 47% would go to raw materials. Direct labor for manufacturing would be 21% of the 100 million. Administrative functions, research and development, and depreciation. We have logistics, and and the last one, 7% would go to advertising. So our sales channel, our primary sales channel would be through our dealerships. Secondary sales channel would be through car lots with multi-brands of vehicles, meaning that you may have a car lot that has, it may have Audi, it may have BMW, Tesla. So we would also have sales channels through that, and that our vehicles would be alongside those other vehicles as, alternative options. And tertiary sales channel would be online via our official website, where you could customize your vehicle and do a whole host of other things. All right. So our marketing activities would consist of dramatic commercials, such as you would have something, for example, there have been reports of Tesla spontaneously catching on fire. So you would have this dramatic commercial of a clip of a Tesla spontaneously catching on fire, followed by, one of our proposed models is called the red Alpha 1. So, you would have that followed by a shot of the red Alpha 1, all the engineering and manufacturing and safety technological features that went into engineering the red Alpha 1, and how a red Alpha 1 would never spontaneously catch fire. So dramatic commercials in that way. Perhaps have a celebrity endorse Quantum, which you can see here, Drake, and creating positive associations of Quantum for luxury and safety. Owners of our vehicles become members of the Quantum Club, a community centered on ownership of Quantum models. Membership perks and feelings of exclusivity and belonging will be some of our marketing activities. Our revenue streams. All right, so the total automobile market in 2021 was 80 billion. If we attempt to capture 1/1000th of the total market, that's about 80 million, and this is just for starting out. So 1/1000th of the market is, that's a really small percent. So I definitely think that given the right structures in place and all the background and more market analysis and research, I do think it is possible to capture 1/1000th of the total market, which again would be generate revenues of about 80 million. The selling price of quantum models would be roughly around between the range of 63,000 and up. And this number was determined by taking, taking Audi, BMW, and Benz, averaging some of their prices and determining what a standard base model might go for. In order to generate revenues of about 80 million, that is to capture 1/1000th of the market, we would have to sell about 1,269 vehicles per year. If we tried to hit a profit of about 10 million for that year, that has an associated cost of 70 million. So this would just be, this would be like the first year of production, very, 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 very modest numbers. 1/1000th of the total market is a very small percentage. Okay, so major costs, again, the overwhelmingly dominant associated cost would be for the plant. The cost for that, the numbers are staggering. Purchase of raw materials would be 47% of cost. Direct labor costs would be 21% of cost. Leasing of equipment, roughly about 400,000 a month over a 2-year period. So that those summarize the major costs. Here's the milestones. So we would like to develop / design a prototype of the Red Alpha 1 by next year, this time. Establish Quantum as a legal entity, whether it's going to be a S Corp, LLC, 6 months from now. Set up a business account, that too, 6 months from now. Launch a website. Launch a website, that's about 6 months from now. Establish Quantum as a legal entity and set up a business account, that would be within 3 months. Develop a business plan that encompasses the entire business landscape, as well as a plan for growth. We have that, seeking to have that done by next year, this time. Build a team. This would be an ongoing process. Secure funding and licensing. That would be 2 to 3 years from now. Begin production. Again, that's about 5 to 7 years from now. Official launch would be a year within the production window. So roughly about 8 years. Right? Team and key roles. So what we have here is CEO, Russell J. Wiggins, myself. The COO, still to be decided. President, to be decided. Right, partners and resources, suppliers of necessary components and assembly parts. Example would be nuts, bolts, and screws. Investors and equipment leasing firms. That would be temporary. Material manufacturers, software developers, and we have NASA. Right, and here are the references that I used for some of the information that was included in the presentation. So I want to thank you for your time, and thank you.